This is robbery for the Chicago Bears amid a rough start from the running back position on the team. What does this mean moving forward in potential moves? Welcome to Bears Digest, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Dylan Guinzy. Thank you for joining me once again. If you have not subscribed already, please do so. It looks like we're at that 67.5% mark still of not subscribed, so please hit that bell. It is easy just to stay up to date on news, rumors, just like we're talking about here today, and to stay up to date on information as it comes to us. So, ladies and gentlemen, over the past couple of weeks, we have discussed the very, very rough play from the running back room, and we have now kind of seen over the last couple of weeks here, it is more likely the culprit is DeAndre Swift. His vision is very weak in this offense. He does not hit the correct and proper holes that we need to have this run game be successful. We don't have the talent at that spot on this team yet. So today I want to discuss some rumors and articles that have been released regarding the running back position and how likely it is that the Bears can add at that position here coming up to the deadline. So we'll get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. First off, I want you guys to let me know what you guys think about the running back room, what trades would be good, what would make sense to add to this team in Ben Johnson's system. I always love hearing from you guys and your guys' opinion on that. So we will jump right into it. This article came out here this morning from Heavy Sports regarding running back Breece Hall for the New York Jets. Bears should trade for explosive 24-year-old running back amid Swift's struggles. So as we have talked about throughout this entire season so far and the preseason, all of our worries kind of are coming to fruition regarding DeAndre Swift and his kind of weak running attack and abilities and everything like that. Now, everybody is going to kind of come out and say, oh, why would the Jets do this? You know, what would that make sense for the Jets as opposed to the Bears and everything like that? So we're going to touch on that, of course, because it has to make sense for both sides for these trades to go through. So why would the Jets do this? More on Hall's current situation with the New York Jets. Hall is in the final year of his rookie deal, 2022 second-round pick, and he has a modest $4.34 million cap hit in 2025. He's scheduled to hit unrestricted free agency in 2026. Unless GM Darren Mogi, hired in January, commits real dollars soon to him by extending him, the franchise risks watching a premium runner walk for a compensatory pick. Why not try to get more for him now? So, we see this every single year with players leading up to the trade deadline, free agency in the offseason, before the draft, things like that, especially when front offices don't have any ties to these players on their new teams. Breece Hall is one of those guys. He is a guy that, one, it hasn't gone exactly to plan in his, beginning stages of his career. Two, they have a new coach in front office where they are kind of phasing him out in certain areas. Maybe he's not an exact fit that they would like in their running back room, although he is a very talented player. And three, Breece Hall might just want a new fresh start somewhere else. So what that means is maybe he is wanting to go into free agency after the season is over. Maybe the Jets are wanting to have a clear and fresh start at the running back position, give more opportunities to the guy that was drafted recently in Braylon Allen, and kind of start that rebuild and retooling quicker here. And with that being said, if he is going to leave in free agency anyways, and he's unrestricted, so you can't have any say in that if you're the Jets, if he is going to leave anyway in unrestricted free agency, it is worth it to get a pick out of him now during the season so you can then see what is with your team and then move forward from that spot and you get some value for the next draft out of him. If he wasn't going to be with your team anyways, you might as well get that value. So if the Jets do see that as fit, I do believe he will get traded before the trade deadline. I was reading up all of these articles here this morning. I think there is a lot of smoke behind this, and I do want the Bears to be interested. Obviously, we'll talk about the fit with Ben and the Bears and everything like that moving forward. So we'll talk here about that fit and what that may cost for the Bears. Johnson's DNA as an offensive mind relies heavily on personnel multiplicity and play action. He likes to stress defenses out with 12 personnel looks and motion that makes run-pass tells disappear. A true home run back like Hall would help sell every one of those illusions. Could the Bears sway New York with, say, a conditional fifth-round pick that would escalate to a fourth-rounder if he hits certain milestones, 1,200 all-purpose yards, 10 total TDs, whatever that may be. So as we're discussing this, cost is always one of those things that people do, kind of argue about and what players are worth and things like that. Teams and fans of those teams tend to get a little bit more, drawn up into those players. They fall in love with them, things like that. Same thing that we've been talking about with the DJ Moore side of things and like what he would cost in a trade. Newsflash, it's not much. You're not getting a huge pick out of him, things like that, because the next team is taking on a contract. Now, with Breece Hall and running backs, it's also not going to cost much. You're not going to have to give up a high pick. That is proof in the pudding. It happens every single year. You're not giving up big picks for a running back like Breece Hall, especially on a rookie contract when you're going to have to pay him and they have to agree to that contract once he is at his new team. So, like that said there in the graphic, it's not going to cost too much. Obviously, you're going to go back and forth. The Jets are going to start high. You kind of got to meet in the middle, see what's best. I think probably a fourth rounder will beat out all the other teams. Might be a little too rich, but I think if you really want him, that will get the job done. And then, of course, adding some escalators onto that deal where if he does perform well at a high level, those can increase. And maybe they get another pick that's late or make that pick better that they did give you in the first place, or you are giving them in the first place. So this is possible. I think it would be a great move. It's not going to cost you a lot. He's not going to cost a lot of money right now. Why this makes sense for the Bears is you're getting a capable running back in. He is much, much better than DeAndre Swift. I'm not saying Breece Hall is a top 5 back or anything in this league, but he is a much better vision runner than DeAndre Swift is, and he fits Ben Johnson's system as well, or so we think, right? So that's all up to Ben and that way. But as you're talking about Breece and the benefits of him coming to the Chicago Bears early, as in before the trade deadline here this season, is you get to see how he plays in your system. You get to see how fast that he picks up the offense, and you get to see how he performs on the field with Caleb and how all that meshes with the O-line, him hitting the holes properly, everything like that. You get to see that before you give him a contract. We paid DeAndre Swift in free agency. It was a pretty bad move. We tried to get Saquon. Saquon chose the Eagles. Whatever, that's fine. But we signed DeAndre Swift, and you didn't know how he's going to fit in this offense and all of the changes that were happening for the Bears and what that would look like. And it's came to fruition now that he is not very good, and especially as the season progresses, he's not going to get any better, maybe a little bit better in terms of numbers, but, the vision is what it is, right? It's not very good. He's not going to be an upper echelon running back. So the benefits of having Breece come to this team now is having him get ingrained with this offense, and you get to see what you have before you actually have to give him a contract, which, again, that contract is not going to be that much either. It's going to be something probably a little bit more than what DeAndre Swift got per year in this league, and that's not a lot at the running back position anymore. You're seeing a lot of those running back contracts get way up there nowadays. I think it's becoming more popular to pay running backs. So Breece Hall last year, just to give you guys some insight into what he looked like last year and years prior, he played 16 games last year, 209 rushing attempts, 8 touchdowns, 1,359 yards, 4.2 per clip, 85 yards per game, 57 receptions, 55 first downs, and 57 longest rush. So for the 24-year-old, now soon to be 25 here, coming into his contract year, great year last year. He was fantastic last year, and I think when you're talking about Breece Hall and his talent, I think that putting him in a better situation, I would say right now that the Bears are a better situation than the Jets. That can be up to everybody's argument there, but I think putting him into Ben Johnson's system and that clever system that we have here in place, I think he would perform very, very well. I think he would perform similar to what he had last year and years prior before that. He does have a slight injury history, but nothing too crazy that you're going to be very worried about in the future. I think this would be a great move for the Bears, and I do see these rumors heating up drastically as we enter this bye week where Ben and the staff and polls can really dial in what this team needs and what's best for this team going forward. And I think these talks do ramp up here very, very soon. And I think the way the Jets are heading as well, they might want to offload some of their guys for some value before the trade deadline as well. So with Breece Hall this year, kind of just normal stats here. He's not getting a ton of reps, which is why a lot of these things are heating up as well. 4.1 yards a clip, 157 rushing yards on 38 attempts. No rushing touchdowns as of yet. Braylon Allen is kind of their change of pace back and goal line back, so Breece Hall is not getting a bunch of goal line carries, and the Jets aren't getting to the goal line very much either. So it just seems to me that this is kind of falling off a little bit in terms of Breece's impact on this Jets team, and I think that his impact will be better suited elsewhere. And moving on to Swift, he just hasn't been good enough at all. So moving from Swift to Breece Hall would be a significant upgrade. This offensive line would benefit as well because they are opening up holes at a very, very high rate. We talked about this last week that the Bears are first in opening up those running lanes and run blocking in a lot of different metrics, and they're 32nd in pretty much everything else in rushing, which leads you straight to the guy that is running the ball and making those decisions with the ball in his hand, and that is DeAndre Swift. So as we progress here, guys, I think these rumors are going to heat up drastically. I think Breece Hall would be a perfect fit, and I think a trade is likely for Breece Hall as well. I hope the Bears are interested, and I hope they do discuss that at length and ad nauseum over the bye week and see what they have going forward after that. So, of course, let me know what you guys think down below regarding this and the Breece Hall potential trade there, and what you guys think in terms of maybe other players. We hear a lot about Alvin Kamara as well, potentially being offloaded by the Saints, something that is possible. I would say less likely than what this one would be. So let me know what you guys think down below, of course, and we'll be back here with injury reports and updates going into Week 4 against the Las Vegas Raiders. Must win once again. So we'll discuss that here very soon in the next video. So thank you guys for joining me once again, and as always, bear down.